Hey there, fabulous financiers. Welcome back to another jaw-dropping episode of the Do.Different.Better Show, where we talk about wealth, wisdom, and money moves, making finance simple for everyday people. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen, CEO and founder of Social Impact Now, Connective Institute, and managing director of the Integrated Capital Fund. Thanks for joining me today. Today, we're going to break down the world of financial advisors. Whether you're just starting your investment journey or your savings journey or you're looking to take your wealth to the next level, understanding the role of a financial advisor is crucial. So let's get into it. So a brief overview. Let's kick things off by defining exactly what does a financial advisor do. A financial advisor is a professional who helps individuals manage their finances by providing advice on investments, savings, retirement, estate planning, and so much more. They're kind of like a financial GPS guiding you through what is really often confusing and complex world of management. Now, why is that important? Well, having a financial advisor can help you make informed decisions, avoid some costly mistakes, and stay on track to achieve the financial goals that you're actually trying to achieve. They can bring expertise and objectivity to the table, which can be incredibly valuable, especially when emotions run high in particularly volatile markets, financial markets. Think of it as kind of like your doctor for your money. You wouldn't go out and just go into a medical diagnostic all by yourself. We have tests for that, and you go to a professional, whether it be a specialist or a practitioner. And so you're wanting for that advice. You want that vision, and so as well as a plan. And so working with a financial advisor, they're helping you do that, but with your money and your financial goals. So let's talk about the different types of financial advisors. There are CFPs, or what is called a certified financial planner. This is actually a certification. So somebody will have CFP after their name, which means they have taken all the tests, they have passed all the requirements to be called a certified financial planner. Very similar to a lawyer who takes the bar and they get their, they are able to practice law once they pass the bar. A CFP must take all of the tests and pass all the requirements to call themselves a certified financial planner. It is a professional who has completed rigorous training and passed the comprehensive exam to be certified. They focus on comprehensive financial planning, covering everything from budgeting to saving to investing to retirement planning. Think of them as an all-around coach for your finances. Next is an investment advisor, or an IA, or you might hear RIA, which means they're a registered investment advisor. Investment advisors specialize in managing your investments. They provide advice on buying, selling, holding securities like stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Remember, we talked about those in previous episodes. If you're primarily interested in growing your investment portfolio, an IA or RIA might be a really good fit for you. Number 3 is robo-advisors. Robo-advisors are automated platforms that provide investment management services with minimal human intervention. They use algorithms to create and manage a diversified portfolio based on your risk tolerance. Remember, we talked about being on a level of aggressive to very passive, right? Being aggressive and being very conservative with your risk tolerance, and as well as your financial goals. They're great because they're a low-cost option, and they're really good for beginners or those who have smaller portfolios. And we'll talk a little bit more about size and scope and scale of portfolio a little bit later in the show. Then finally, there are wealth managers. Wealth managers provide highly professionalized services, typically for high net worth individuals. They offer comprehensive financial planning. They also do estate planning. They provide tax services and philanthropic planning. If you have significant amount of assets, particularly if you've had an inheritance or you've gained, maybe you've won the lottery, you need a high level of service. A wealth manager could be a great option for you as a go-to. So here's a little fun fact. 60% of high net worth individuals use wealth managers to manage their investments. This shows you just how valuable these services can be for those substantial assets. And so once again, we think about high net worth individuals. Remember in an earlier episode, we talked about accredited investors versus non-accredited investors. A lot of folks who are accredited investors typically will have one or many of these wealth advisors or investment advisors that I've just talked about. So now let's talk about the scope and scale of your portfolio and what is right for you at what particular point in time. So if you're starting small with a smaller portfolio, it's great to start off with a certified financial planner or CFP or a robo-advisor. That might be the best choice for you, especially if you're new to this conversation, you're new to this language. And that includes if you already have a 401k. Going to a certified financial planner and saying, this is my 401k. I'm anticipating an inheritance probably in the next 10 to 15 years. What should I be doing right now? They're going to help you think through that. They're going to help you think through, okay, let's look at where your likelihood of how long you're going to live. And let's think about how much money do you need for when you retire? When do you think you'll want to retire? What kinds of things do you want to do when you want to retire? Do you want to travel when you retire? They're going to ask you all these questions. And it can be a little overwhelming at the beginning, but just know that if you've got a good advisor, they're there to actually make your dreams come true and make your financial journey as on target as possible. But they're helping you build a solid foundation to build your wealth over time. Let's say you're in this sort of middle stage where you're growing assets, right? You might want to transition to an investment advisor, or you may want to have an investment advisor and a CFP. Remember, the investment advisor is specifically on looking at your investments, right? They're not going to be necessarily looking at some of the other things in your portfolio, but they can manage more specialized advice on your investments to help you maximize returns and manage risk. Oftentimes, there is a CFP and they may have an investment manager in their office, especially if you're going to one of the bigger, larger organizations like a Charles Schwab or some of the other big ones that are out there, JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch. They will have all of these services under the same roof. So if it's not the same person who carries all these licenses, there's somebody on their team who can fill some of these other roles. And so you keep all your business under the same roof. Then finally, we're going to talk about high net worth individuals. For those with significant assets, a wealth manager can offer comprehensive services. And once again, they usually will have lots of employees that are doing all those different tasks and all those different responsibilities all in one building. But they are set up to handle everything from your investment management to your estate planning and ensuring that all aspects of your financial life are well coordinated and one's not taking over the other. So now let's talk about minimum assets for hiring a wealth manager. The typical minimum asset requirement for hiring a wealth manager is about between $1 to $5 million. However, this is just a general guideline, and this can vary significantly based on a number of factors. So the first one is the wealth manager's specific requirements. Some wealth managers may have lower minimums while others might have higher minimums. They might have a $10 million, $20 million, $30 million minimum. The complexity of your financial situation. If you have a complex financial situation, maybe you've been married multiple times, maybe you have children, blended family, and so you have multiple assets that either you want to leave behind or that you've inherited through your marriages or other types of situations. You have high income or you have significant estate planning needs. Maybe you have a very large and significant family. A wealth manager can be very beneficial even when you have lower number of assets. Then there is the services that you require. If you only need basic investment management, you might find suitable options with lower asset requirements. But then there's alternatives to those with lower assets. So let's just say you don't meet the minimum requirement for a traditional wealth manager. Consider some of these alternatives that we've just talked about. the robo-advisor. So once again, the robo-advisor, these are automated platforms. You put in some data, they'll ask you for a lot of information. They may even ask you for your bank account so that if, let's say, you wanted to set up withdrawals from your bank account to go into your investment account every week, every month, every payday, these platforms can offer that. But they're going to be offering you investment advice based on algorithms, so based on math, very high complex math, and AI in many cases. And that can be a really good option, let's say, if you're starting out with even $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. And as you work your way up, you're like, okay, now I'm ready to make some investments in the stock market, the bond market. I want to get into real estate. Some of those platforms can be helpful and useful in those particular instances. But remember, the best way to determine if you need a wealth manager is to assess your financial goals and the complexity of your financial situation. Consult with several professionals to find the best needs for you. Here's a tip. Just start with a smaller portfolio using a certified financial planner or robo-advisor to just gain expertise and get confidence, right? Getting your feet wet. And then as your assets grow, you can start to transition to more specialized advisors like an IA or RIA, registered investment advisor, or a wealth manager. But to sum it all up, understanding the different types of financial advisors and the scope of their services is really important in finding out what is the right fit for your needs at this particular time. And remember, where you are today will not be where you are tomorrow. So know that while you might be starting with a CFP or a robo-advisor, that's okay. You will then, as you start to get more comfortable and as you start to understand more about what you're thinking, what you want to do, what your financial goals are, and your financial planner can help you suss some of that out. But this is start where you're starting, right? Be kind to yourself. This is just start where you're going to start. The point is that you're starting, right? It doesn't matter where you're starting. So start with a CFP, and your CFP is actually probably going to make recommendations like, hey, you know what? I think it's time for maybe you to consider getting a wealth advisor. Here are some recommendations within our office. You might want to check in with if you started an investment group, remember we talked about joining an investment club. Maybe you can talk to some of your colleagues or friends in your investment club and find out who are they using, what's been their experience. Start to learn about this universe and how you might want to be set up for success for your financial planning. But whether you're just starting out or you're managing a substantial portfolio, there's an advisor that is out there that can help you achieve your financial goals. So that's it for the first segment on understanding what a financial advisor does. Stick around because in the next segment, we're going to dive into how financial advisors are paid and some practical tips for finding a good fit. So you're not going to want to miss this. Welcome back to the Do.Different.Better Show. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen, and in this segment, we're going to tackle a critical aspect of working with a financial advisor, how they get paid, and how you can find the perfect fit for your financial needs. Understanding this can save you money and help you make the best choice for your financial journey. So let's get started. All right, let's jump to the nitty-gritty. How are financial advisors compensated? Knowing this can help you choose an advisor whose interests align with yours. You would be surprised. I have worked with a number of wealthy people, and when I ask them the question, how is your advisor paid? I cannot tell you how many times they don't know. They don't know, which I'm surprised. I would never hire somebody and not know how I'm paying them. So we're going to get into it. So if you think that you're intimidated, you're not the only one, but I'm going to walk you through it. Okay. So the first one is fee-only advisors. Fee-only advisors are paid directly by their clients either as a percentage of their assets under management, and you may see the word AUM or the abbreviation AUM, that's assets under management, which is a fancy way of saying how much of their assets they're managing for you. And this could be, so they could either charge you as a percentage of assets under management, they can charge you an hourly rate, or they can charge you a flat fee. And that flat fee might be annual. The flat fee could be a monthly fee. These are why you want to ask this question so that you understand what that is. They do not receive commissions or any other incentives for recommending specific products. This structure helps ensure their advice is unbiased and in your best interest. So, for example, if you have $500,000 in assets, $500,000, and your advisor charges you 1% AUM, assets under management, then you will pay $5,000 annually for their services. And how that's paid, they might have ways for you to figure that out, whether it's quarterly or it's upfront, or if it's 6 months upfront, 6 months, kind of like your insurance. But these are all the things that you can find out when you talk to your advisor. The next kind is commission-based advisors. Commission-based advisors earn money by selling financial products like mutual funds, insurance policies, or annuities. They receive commissions on each product that they sell. While this can lead to potential conflicts of interest, it's important to ask the right questions to ensure their recommendations align with your goals. And here's a tip. Always ask if the products they recommend are the best options for you, or if there are lower cost alternatives available, right? So then there's number 3, which are fee-based advisors. Fee-based advisors charge a combination of fees and commissions. They may receive a fee for their advice, but also earn commission on the products that they sell. This can be sort of a middle ground, but be sure that you understand how they are compensated, once again, to ensure that their advice remains unbiased. Or if it's not biased, or if you feel that it's not biased, that you at least are aware of that and you're making a decision knowing that there might be a potential. So why do some advisors get paid on commission? Imagine you're at the store and the salesperson helps you pick out a new phone. If you buy that phone, the person gets a bonus. The bonus is called a commission. Some financial advisors work in a very similar way. They help you pick out financial products like mutual funds or insurance policies. And when you buy these products, they get a commission from the company that sells them, because not the company that they work for may not have the extent of all the things that you may need to get you going on to reach your financial goals. So how does it work? 1, they make a recommendation. The advisor recommends a certain product to you. 2, you decide to buy one or many of these products. 3, the company selling the product, which is typically a third party, but it could be the company that they work for, pays the advisor for a commission for making the sale, right? So for example, if an advisor helps you buy a mutual fund, they might get a small percentage of the money you invest as a commission, right? So, but the commission typically is not coming paid by you. It is paid by the other company that the product belongs to, right? So here are some things that I want you to be aware of, right? While many commission-based advisors are honest and want to help you, there are a few things you want to watch out for. The first is potential conflicts of interest. And you can straight up ask them, is this a conflict of interest, right? Because advisors earn money from selling specific products, they might unknowingly or knowingly recommend products that earn them a higher commission instead of what's best for you. So by asking, being direct and saying, are you receiving a commission from this? They should just be disclosing that to you, right? They should be disclosing it whether you ask them or not, but you should always ask, right? For example, if an advisor earns a higher commission from selling Fund A compared to Fund B, they might push you for Fund A even if Fund B is actually a better choice for you. Number 2, high fees. Some products that pay high commissions to advisors also come with high fees to you. These fees can eat away at your investment return, so you want to be aware. For example, if you buy an insurance policy with a high commission, the ongoing fees might be higher than another similar product, reducing how much money you make over time. 3, overly frequent transactions. An advisor might suggest buying or selling investments more often than necessary because they earn a commission each time that you make a transaction. If an advisor keeps suggesting new investments every month, you might end up paying a lot of commissions, which could reduce your overall profit. Now, once again, I want you to take all this in the context of your financial journey, the financial decisions, or the portfolio moves that you're trying to make. If you're trying to make some quick moves, then you know that you're going to be having frequent transactions. So this last point may not apply. So I want you to just kind of take a common sense approach to this. I don't want you to get overly paranoid. I don't want you to get overly scared of somebody might be trying to do you in. There are ethics and rules and guidelines. Like I said, many of these folks have to take tests. They have to be certified. You can't just put up a shingle and say that you're an investment advisor or a certified financial planner. So like anything, there are good and bad in every situation. There are good and bad lawyers. There are good and bad investment advisors. There are good and bad certified financial planners. But we're going to talk about how to deal with that in the next segment. But for right now, there are some tips that you can do to protect yourself. Number 1, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask your advisor how they get paid and if they earn a commission on the products that they recommend. If you're feeling intimidated and you don't feel like you can ask them questions, that may not be the best advisor for you. This is a financial relationship. This is probably almost as personal, if not more personal, than your loving relationships. And so you want to be able to feel like you have a high level of trust and be able to have some of these kinds of conversations with the person who's working for you. And they are working for you. Okay. So here's a possible question. Do you earn a commission from selling this product? If so, are there other options that might be better for me? One thing that I've found is really helpful for me when I'm going into these situations where maybe my heart's beating a little bit faster, my skin gets a little tighter, I'll write down my questions like the day before or maybe even a couple of days before. And here's where ChatGPT and AI can be really helpful. I was like, hey, these are my financial goals. I'm going to be visiting with a wealth advisor for the first time. Give me a list of questions that I could ask the wealth advisor as it relates to my financial journey to assess whether or not they are the best fit for me. ChatGPT will give you some really great responses to help you prepare for that conversation. So, number 2, get some perspective from your investment group. We've talked about investment groups. If you've decided to take that leap forward to join an investment group or be a part of investment meetups, ask some of your colleagues in your investment group, what's been your experience? What was your worst experience? What was your best experience? Why was it the worst experience? Why was it the best experience, right? And then and see what you learn and glean from them. 3, compare the products. Research and compare different financial products to make sure you're getting the best deal. Here's a tip. You can use some online tools to compare fees and performance of different mutual funds or insurance policies. I know we've talked about Investopedia, but there's lots of other ones that are online. There's probably now even some AI generated ones that are specifically designed for the finance sector that you might want to pull out and use to help you assess information relatively quickly without going down the deep rabbit hole. Number 4, look for transparency. Choose advisors who are open about how they get paid and why they're recommending certain products, especially why they're recommending it for you. And you can even ask them that. Why are you recommending this for me? Why do you think that this is such a good fit? Remember, they work for you. Okay. I've seen a lot of times, particularly in the dynamic between a female client and a male advisor, where they feel like the female client is feeling like they're getting a lot of pushback from and feeling like the person is evading or not wanting to answer their questions. So once again, if that's kind of the dynamic that you're feeling, whether it be a gender thing, whether it be something else where you feel that there's some kind of bias, that's something you want to look at and see whether or not this is really the right person for you. 5, consider a fee-only advisor. If you're concerned about conflicts of interest, consider working with a fee-only advisor who gets paid only by you and not by selling products. Right? Here's a tip. Fee-only advisors might charge a flat fee or an hourly rate or a percentage that they manage for you, but their advice is very, very typically unbiased. So by understanding how commission-based advisors get paid and being aware of potential conflict, you can make better decisions and ensure that the financial advice that you receive is truly in your best interest. Knowing how your advisor is compensated is crucial. It helps you understand their motivations and ensures that you're getting the best advice for your situation. So, some practical tips for finding a good fit. 1, do your research. Use resources like the Certified Financial Planner Board, the National Association for Personal Financial Advisors to help you find qualified advisors. These platforms provide valuable information on the advisor's background, their certifications, and any disciplinary actions, very similar to like a lawyer and the bar. Referrals. Ask your friends and colleagues for referrals. People you trust can provide you honest feedback about their experience and their financial advisors. Doing a background check. Before making a decision, verify the advisor's credentials and check for any disciplinary actions. This can be done through many of the resources that I've mentioned. And here are some questions to ask in the initial interview, right? When you meet with a potential advisor, it's essential to ask the right questions to ensure that they're a good fit. So here are some specific questions. 1, their qualifications and their experience. Hey, can you tell me about your qualifications and experience? Understanding their background can help you gauge their expertise. It's no different than if you were hiring an executive coach, if you were looking at a specialist, because I know when my a friend of mine was going through cancer treatment, we wanted to really understand finding a doctor that really had a specialization in the cancer that my friend had. So this is no different. Compensation. How are you compensated? Ensure that you understand the fee structure and any potential conflicts of interest. 3, what's their approach to investment management and financial planning? Just ask them, what's your approach? This can help you understand their philosophy and whether it aligns with your goals, particularly if you have an interest in climate, particularly if you have an interest in justice-related investing, and especially if you're looking for anything specific, values-aligned investing, social impact investing. If that's not something they do and that's something that's important to you, don't go to them just because and put your goals on the back burner. If that's something that's important to you and that's not something they do, then that is probably not the right advisor for you, right? References. Can you provide me references from some current clients or past clients? Speaking with clients can provide you insight into this advisor's effectiveness and their client satisfaction. Communication. How will you be communicating with me and how often? Regular communication is crucial to ensure you're on track to meet your financial goals. So here's my call to action. Make a list of these questions and use them as a checklist during your initial interview with potential advisors. This will help you make an informed decision and find someone who truly fits your needs. So that's it for segment 2 on how financial advisors are paid and practical tips for finding a good fit. Stick around because in the next segment, we're going to be discussing monitoring your advisor and knowing when it's time to part ways. You're not going to want to miss it. Welcome back to the Do.Different.Better Show. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. And in this final segment, we're going to cover how to monitor your financial advisor's performance and recognize the sign that it might be time to part ways. Plus, we'll discuss how to gracefully end the relationship if it's not working out. So let's get into it. All right. Let's start with some signs that your financial advisor may not be a good fit for you. Recognizing these signs early can help you save time, money, and quite frankly, a lot of stress and sleepless nights.
Are you having a live show
right?
this weekend? Question mark.
One, there's a lack of communication. Communication is key. Remember, this is akin to any kind of deeply personal relationship. It's your money, right? This is deeply, deeply personal. Communication is key. No different than in your partnership relationship, right? It is no different with your financial advisor. If your advisor is not responding to your calls or your emails in a timely manner, that's a red flag. Now, let's right size this. That doesn't mean that your advisor calls you within 20 minutes of you sending them an email or texting them or calling them, right? Reasonable amount of time, 24, 48 hours. Remember, you're not their only client. But if you're finding that 3, 4, 5 days goes by and you're not getting a call, you're not getting an email, you're not getting any response, that could be a minimum yellow flag, but could be a red flag. So tip, you should expect regular updates and be able to reach your advisor when you have questions or concerns. Typically, advisors will send out regular statements, either virtually or by mail. If you choose a paperless option, then you will be getting your quarterly statements every quarter, and they will come virtually to your whatever email you've given to your advisor. And so read it. I can't tell you how many people get their quarterly statement and they don't read it. Put time on your calendar to say, I am going to look at my quarterly financial statement and I'm going to come up with a couple of questions. And then you set up a meeting with your advisor and talk through those questions, right? Or you can email them if you think that they're email worthy and set up a meeting. 2, poor performance. While no advisor can guarantee returns, consistent underperforming compared to the benchmarks should be a cause for concern. And typically your wealth advisor will show you, here are the benchmarks for our company, here are the benchmarks for this particular type of portfolio, here are the benchmarks in the market, right? So they'll kind of give you this 360-degree perspective of benchmarks, meaning what is typical behavior for this portfolio? What is typical behavior for this investment type? What is a typical behavior for a portfolio that is conformed in the way that your portfolio is confirmed? Let's say your portfolio is very conservative. Okay, this is how you're pacing to other conservative portfolios, right? So understanding where you are, I wouldn't panic if you're underperforming for a quarter. If you're underperforming for 2 and 3 and 4 quarters and significantly, that is a cause for concern, right? But it's important to evaluate your advisor's performance against similar investment strategies and indices. They're akin to an employee. So if you had an employee that was underperforming, how would you deal with that situation? So here's an example. If a portfolio had consistently lagged behind the Standard & Poor's or S&P 500 over several years, it's time to ask why, right? Now, there are some reasons why that might happen, but those will be globals, like the pandemic. The pandemic had a very significant impact on the financial markets. Everyone's benchmarks and performance went down globally, right? But if you're seeing that your portfolio is distinctly underperforming to several benchmarks, that's a cause for concern. Number 3, misaligned goals. Your advisor should take your financial goals and risk tolerance into account. If you feel like your advisor is not listening to you or your needs, or is recommending investments that don't align with your objectives, that also is a problem. Fun fact, did you know that according to a study, 60% of clients leave their advisors because they feel their goals are not being prioritized, right? I talked a little bit earlier about situations I've coached individuals on leaving their advisors because of the same reason, right? Number 4, high or hidden costs, high fees or hidden costs. Be aware of excessive fees and hidden costs. Once again, you're going to see these in your statements. This is why you need to read your statement. If you find that your advisor is charging you more than you initially agreed upon, or there are unexpected charges that they didn't inform you about, it's essential to have that conversation about transparency and fee structures as soon as you notice it. And then 5, and this is my favorite one, gut feeling. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Your financial advisor should make you feel comfortable and secure and not obnoxious. I had a friend of mine who she'd been asking for reports. She had been asking reports like month over month over month, and she wasn't getting them. Her advisor kept telling her like, oh, they're coming. And then when she finally get them, they looked weird. And it turned out he ran off with all of her money. Right. So once again, if you're getting that sort of like tickling feeling in your belly, or you're losing sleep over it, or you're scratching your head because something doesn't make sense, you don't have to be a financial wizard, right? If something's not feeling like it's making sense, it's probably not making sense. So check it out. So with that being said, how do you sunset the relationship when it's not going well? Ending a relationship with a financial advisor can be awkward. You're breaking up with them. It's no different than any other relationship, but it is necessary if the relationship isn't working. I've coached a number of women working with male advisors to fire them because the advisor was passive aggressive, was condescending, or sometimes it's a straight up jerk. I've also been on boards of directors where we've had to fire our financial advisors, meaning I recently had to go through this. I sit on this board. We have a $100 million portfolio, and this advisor had been working with the family for years, decades, and we ended up having to fire them. Now, it wasn't an overnight process. We had to go through the process of figuring out what did we want. We had to go through the process of determining what was important to us. We also had to go through interviews. We sent out a request for proposals. So that process took us about 6 to 8 months. But now I'm very happy and very satisfied with our new advisor because they're actually listening to us. We were really wanting to center justice investing, and we really wanted to center social impact investing. And the advisor we were working with didn't want to do it, didn't want to learn about it, didn't want to do it, was just keeping all of our money in the traditional market. And after about almost a year of not getting any change in their attitude, any change in their investment approach, that's when we decided, and we found the new advisor, that's when we decided to let them go. So this is not an uncommon thing. And so you should feel empowered to do it. And if somebody's making you feel bad about that, that's also a red flag. But it's never pleasant, but here's how you do this gracefully. 1, the first thing you need to do is review your contract. Start by reviewing your contract to understand any terms or penalties for terminating the relationship. This will help you prepare for this will help you prepare for the process and avoid any surprises. Number 2, provide written notice. Provide a formal written notice to end the relationship. I would also follow it up with a phone call. If you've had a longer relationship, doing this in person is the respectable thing to do. Be polite, be professional. You can be brief, but thank them for their services and clearly state that you've decided to move on. Here's an example of some language you can use if you're putting it in writing. Dear, insert advisor name, I want to thank you for your services over the past however many months, years they've been serving you. After careful consideration, I've decided to move my financial management in a different direction. Please consider this letter as a formal notice of termination of our agreement, right? So once again, you need to review your contract because you may be locked in. If you are ending your contract in the middle of the year and your contract goes till the end of the year, your letter will be as of the new year. So once again, you want to really understand what are the dates and termination times as it relates to your particular situation. Number 3, transfer your assets. Ensure a smooth transition of your assets to the new advisor or account. Work with your new advisor or financial institution to facilitate the transfer. Keep a close eye on the transfer process to ensure all your assets are accounted for and correctly moved. One way to do that is look at your most recent statement that you received, and once your funds are transferred or all your accounts are transferred, make sure that everything there aligns up with your most recent statement that you received from the previous advisor. Number 4, keep records. Document all communications and transactions for your records. This can protect you in case of any disputes or misunderstanding. Keep it in a binder, keep it in a folder, but keep all of your communications related to everything with communication with your investment advisor and the investments or trades that have been made. And then lastly, inform your new advisor. Make sure your new advisor is fully informed about the situation and any issues you had with the previous advisor. This will help them understand your expectations and provide you better service. Now, here are some practical and tactical steps. Let's talk about some actionable steps that you can take to ensure you're getting the best possible service from your advisor. 1, creating an action plan. Review your current financial advisor's performance and relationship each year. Schedule an annual review and to meet to discuss your portfolio's performance, your finance goals, and any changes in your life that may impact your financial plan. Are you getting married? Are you getting divorced? Are you adopting children? Are you retiring? These are all significant life changes and that can impact your financial journey. And so you want to make sure that you're set up for success. Use a checklist to ensure you cover all the important topics. My wealth advisor actually does this automatically. They send me an email saying, hey, and let's get you on the calendar for the next couple months. Let's check in. Let's have a meeting. Make sure that we're all set to go, right? Number 2, resources. Here are some, Here are some resources to help you evaluate and find the right advisors. There's some great websites like Smart Asset, NerdWallet, the Certified Financial Planner Board that offer reviews and comparisons for financial advisors. There's some great books out there, The Intelligent Advisor by Benjamin Graham. There's Janine Firpo has a really great book. The title's escaping me right now. And then there's Vanessa Lowe has a great podcast that I highly recommend. So tools, some of the tools, you can use online calculators to estimate the impact of the fees on your investment returns and compare different advisor fee structures. Now, here's my call to action. I encourage you to take a proactive step. Review your current portfolio performance, even if you just have a 401k. And if necessary, start the process of finding an advisor who best fits your needs, whether you're looking at your current advisor or you're getting an advisor for the first time. Remember, your financial well-being is too important to leave into hands of someone who isn't delivering the service you deserve, right? Fun fact, did you know that regularly reviewing and adjusting your financial plan can significantly increase your chances of achieving your financial goals? It's all about staying proactive and informed. So that's it for today's episode on finding the right financial advisor. By understanding how advisors are paid and asking the right questions, you can figure a lot of these things out. This episode was packed with insider tips on understanding what a financial advisor does, how to find the perfect one for your financial needs, and how to know when it's time to part ways. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to manage substantial wealth, this episode arms you with knowledge and confidence to make the best decisions for your financial future. I'm hoping that you're feeling super empowered to take control of your financial future and consider how a wealth advisor can play a role in your wealth building strategy. It's so important to not go through this alone, right? You don't have to do this alone. There are people who can walk you through this journey. Many of them have great experience, they have great perspective, and this is what they went to school for, whether they have a finance degree or whether they studied to do this, they got certified in this, they are experts in their field. So while it's great to do learning on creating your own learning journey, it's also great to have somebody hold your hand and walk you through it, right? And guide you to make sure that to put covers over the puddles and the potholes that you don't fall in, right? So join me in the next episode, and I will see you next week when I show you how to do different better. In our next episode, we are going to be talking about how you are going to, let's see, what are we going to be talking about next week? Well, we're going to be talking more about getting you set up on your wealth journey. So I'm super, super excited. Let me know what you think of the show. We love comments. Tell us how we've helped you. If there's a money or finance question you have, or if there's someone you want me to interview, hit me up on LinkedIn or Instagram. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and follow us on all of our socials. Join me next week when I show you how to do different better.